And I was on mute. Welcome to Coffee Conversation and Book Talks with Sandy. I am super excited to have you on with me this evening. I have been anticipating this conversation with this amazing lady, and we are excited, anticipating for you coming and being a part of our audience, continually supporting the Coffee Conversation and Book Talks with Sandy platform and podcast. We are a part of the CTR Media Network. And this network allows podcasters to be able to share all throughout many viewers. And we are currently viewing over 350 million viewers worldwide and over 100 countries globally. And so we're very excited to be a part of the CTR Media Network. And tonight we are going to be talking with an author that has come through, and she has actually showcased her book on our platform before. And I'm super excited to have her on again tonight because she's about to release her volume 2 in 2024. So we want to get you all ready for a great conversation. Just come on in and join us in this conversation. Share it out with, I always tell y'all, drop it out about 5 people, okay? Because this is a conversation you definitely don't want to miss. And without further ado, we are going to go ahead and bring on our tonight's guest. It is none other than Dr. Kenyatta Powers-Rucker. Hello, how you doing?
Hello. I'm going to take that, doctor. I'm going to take it and I'm going to take it.
You know what? I really yeah. We're gonna speak that prophetically,
Okay.
and yes, indeed. But yes, Kenyatta Powers-Rucker. She is known in the area and the field of tech, but she's also a coach. So, yes. So how you been? It's been a minute.
It's been wonderful. So I'm just excited about this endeavor with this book, but I am doing absolutely wonderful.
Yes, you came through a little over a year ago, and we talked about this book. And this book here that we're in, Ladies in Tech, and sharing experts for successful careers. So come on and let's pick up on that part, and then we'll share a little bit about who you are.
Absolutely. So when we were here before, we were actually talking about volume 1. And volume 1 launched in May of this year. So this book is actually volume 2. Volume 1 was sharing expertise for a successful career. That launched, we made Amazon bestseller and number 1 in several different categories. And I just enjoyed the process so much and enjoyed the outcome and all of the positive remarks from all we've had from volume 1 that I wanted to move forward fairly quickly with volume 2. Volume 2 is changing the face of technology. Ladies in tech, changing the face of technology. So that is based on really thinking about changing the face of technology. When people think about technology, the biggest thing they think about is males being in the industry because it's a male-dominated industry.
Right.
So we try to thinking about now of how we can actually not just make women in technology as part of the norm. Why not?
Yeah, definitely. And we had this discussion, and you kind of broke the ice. I want to make sure I'm not on mute there. Yeah. So you kind of broke the ice for us, and you brought us into your world. Those of you that are tuning in tonight, we are with Kenyatta Powers-Rucker, who is, let me just kind of share the phenomenal person who she is. One thing I know, she's humble in spirit, love the Lord, and have definitely made some amazing achievements in her career. Just y'all bear with me here just a little bit. She is known the lady in tech. Okay. She is Chief Informational Officer, 25 years of technology and leadership experience. She is a leadership coach, a keynote speaker, 5-time best-selling author, visionary author, of the book we just talked about, Ladies in Tech Book Anthology Project. As she mentioned, it went #1 in several categories. In 2021, Technical.ly CTO of the Year, featured in several articles and magazines, which I've seen her in print, as we've seen her on that speaking stage, finalist in Women in Tech Leadership Awards, and want to give kudos to one of your coaches, and you were at SpeakerCon with the phenomenal, yes, Dr. Cheryl Wood, definitely gracing her stage and her academy. Tell us how important it is to have been a part of the speaking world, not just being as a coach and being in your field, but you tapped into the speaking, getting on stage and speaking, because opportunities, once COVID was over and we came out from behind what you and I are doing, podcasting again, the world of speaking is continuing to be a opportunity for individuals. No, let's start right there.
Yes, so it being a leader and mostly any type of profession, you're thinking, speaking is a very big part of that leadership role.
Mm-hmm.
And also being a coach is being a big speaking is a big part of that role as well. So I wanted to make sure that I enhance my speaking abilities, right? And wanting to find one of the best coaches around as it relates to
And that
speaking.
she is.
Yes, and I found myself at several of her events and found opportunities for being her mastermind and then being able to participate in her speaking classes. So I just definitely took upon that opportunity to be coached by one of the best, Dr.
Yeah.
Cheryl Wood. So, but yes, I have gained a lot of perspective, especially around the speaker community. Gained some, we actually won the Etsy Award from Dr. Cheryl. So there was a lot of fantastic, also became a best-selling author within one of her books during this whole process.
Mm-hmm.
So it has been, and I have absolutely learned so much from being there. And not just speaking, but even from a business standpoint as well.
Correct.
So it has been definitely a journey. And so of course I couldn't let it end there. So here I am still in her world of coaching. Now I'll be coaching some of her other classes as a team leader and some of her other classes. So so still staying connected in the GSU community.
And offering, and that's, and like you said, it's the layers and offering opportunities. It's not just academy. And so it's somewhat of a buffet, lack of a better word, that you can expand on what you want to do and how you can impact the world. And that's what's so important. You all that are tuning in, I do need you to drop those names. I'm going to be doing some sharing. Put those names in the chat. We want you to touch out and reach out to some folks, because we have the phenomenal Kenyatta Powers-Rucker on with us tonight. And she is known as the Lady in Tech. And we're going to be talking about the book that is the volume 2, Ladies in Tech. And this one here is on changing the face of technology. Do I have that?
Absolutely. That's correct.
So changing the face, you first introduced us to the sharing of expertise, and you had some phenomenal women that were a part of this book. Give us an example of some of the women that partook in the first volume.
Wow, so the first volume had a total of 20 ladies, and my most seasoned author was Miss Dorothy. She was 83 years old. And she shared with us all of the, she started tech. She was one of those ones where we stood on her shoulders, right?
Yeah.
And she started tech many, 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 many years ago. And she shared so many different stories and so much level of encouragement of how she was in tech and things that she went through, and some encouragement for us as we continued. But we had almost about 400 years of experience in
Wow.
volume one. So it was definitely my first book as being a visionary author, and
Yes.
definitely very successful. We had so many different phenomenal topics of salary negotiation and how to interview properly, and some tips on imposter syndrome and how to handle imposter syndrome, some leadership guidance, networking, mentoring. It was a lot of different topics, of some wonderful topics that, of course, we as women we go through sometimes in a male-dominated field, and sometimes not even just being in a male-dominated field, but being a woman in a workplace, period.
Yeah.
So some of these things was just very, very helpful, and tips and guidance, and different endeavors of how to manage yourself in the workplace.
I must have missed Miss Dorothy because I must have missed her because I have the book and I actually went ahead and went back in my Kindle. I said, hold up, wait a minute. I need to go back and find what. Listen, okay, so that's going to cause me, you all, to pull the book out for sure. And throughout the holidays, we're going to go back and look at some reels, and I'm going to create a path for this amazing lady for you all so you can be ready, because the book that we're going to be talking about tonight, and as we go through the next couple of months, you're going to have the opportunity to meet the contributing authors that are a part of the volume 2. And so those of you that are tuning in tonight, I need you, as I always tell you, jot down these books and these authors, put them on post-it note, put it around. So I want you to, as I say, have it in your visual, because it's not always just for you. It may be for one of your coworkers. It can be one of your, you may be a coach or a teacher in the professional field, or just everyday mom, leader in ministry. And you will find that you'll find some nuggets out of these books. And tonight, I believe that you and I, we had this discussion. Give us a background, how you became, and of course, you are in a very leading position at your company. You're a chief information officer. And so give us a little bit of background, how you got to this space that we're in right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I actually kind of found the joy of technology in high school. I actually even took my first class because I like to type. So I took my first programming class after I took my typing class, and I liked the idea, the concept of whatever I could maneuver, what I could do and program in this computer could make something work. So I could see the fruit of my labor and the different things that was happening as we were programming. And so I went to college for business management and information technology. So life was life, and I didn't quite get to finish college, and I went in a totally different direction than technology. And several years later, I was working at a job, and I got laid off from that job. And at that point, I was totally devastated because I was a single mom. I just got a new house, new car. I was devastated. And but lo and behold, after interview after interview, I actually went back to my roots of technology. I wound up getting a few certifications, and I landed my first job after almost a year, but 9, 10 months. I landed my first job in technology. Now, we went through that process. I just mentioned that like it was fairly quickly and fairly easy. But however, as being a single mom, it was not easy at all. But I had to go get laid off from that position to go back to my roots of what God's purpose was for me, to be in a position that He needed me to be in. And it was just meant that that position that I was in was just not where I was supposed to be. So I landed my first position as a, I'll say, a glorified desktop specialist for Y2K. So we were hired at the actual state of Maryland, and we were hired to go around the state and update computers. Because, at that time, they thought that once the computers rolled from 1999 to 2000, that the computer world was just going to come to an end. So they hired us to go around the state and update the computers to make sure that all the software and everything was updated to be able to accommodate the year 2000. So of course that went through with no problem. I was a contractor there for about 3 years. The 6 months turned into 3 years, and I actually worked myself up from a desktop specialist to an engineer, to a supervisor, to a director, to deputy CIO, to actually chief information officer for what I am today. So I am grateful for the different levels and different steps and different positions that I had to take to get here. Now, again, I just said it, like it was just one of those easy processes. However, it was not easy at all. But it was definitely my blessing to be
Yeah.
able to actually go through that process, because each one of those steps, each one of those careers, each one of those positions was a leading step up into the position of being CIO. And so now being CIO, now it's leading me into other areas. So now I can be that forefront and can be that face and try to encourage other ladies, because,
Yeah.
growing up, it wasn't a lot of people that looked like me. So
Right.
now I can be that face and try to help other women, and more specifically women of color, into encouraging and supporting them in a career in tech, and knowing that it is somebody you're not in this by yourself. There are more women in leadership positions and in tech positions. And so that's one of the reasons of the name, right, of changing the face of technology, so that we can see that there are different faces in the technology world and not just a male dominated field.
And I'm glad we're having this conversation because I have a granddaughter. And she's only 4 years old. And you and we had this conversation in our last interview, and our last conversation of starting early with introducing technology. And you and the other authors, how creative you all were and are with bringing it to the schools and answering their questions. And then having you're mentoring these young ladies as they go through their journey and in college, and showing up at college fairs and high school career days. How important that is, because let's be honest, and I'm older, so this is so encouraging, because our world operates on technology. Come
Yes.
on,
Yes.
Kenyatta, tell us about how we take for granted, and how you're saying is that changing the face of it. You're in the decision. There are individuals that are in the decision making of how a cash register is going to operate, or how Walmart is going to get all of their inventory completed. Those are things that deal with technology. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So let's face it, everything we do now is based off of technology.
Yeah,
Even
everything.
at McDonald's, you're
Yeah.
ordering at McDonald's. We're now ordering on kiosks
On a
at McDonald's,
kiosk.
right? So
Yes.
there's almost everywhere we look, there's technology. And so the more, of course, advanced we are, the more technologists we actually need.
Yes.
So, and if we think about this, it is time to start young. It's time to start them young in elementary school. You have kids now that know more about phones and how to operate phones than we do. Okay, let's just keep it real. They can operate it. You go to the kids to figure out how to do stuff now. Okay, so it's not as if they don't have the ability. Even when it comes to video games, they're on their phone with games. They're on their PlayStations or what have you with games. They're everywhere with games. And so now it's that thinking about, okay, in playing the games, well, let's think about creating these games. Why can't we be the developers of the games, not just playing the games? Yeah. So it's important to actually start that conversation at a young age. Yeah. And that's why it's also important to include parents. And so it's one of the programs that I do have. It's called Taste of Technology. And that is a program that engages young kids from elementary school on up to adulthood, and sharing with them the different careers of technology. right? We have cybersecurity.
That's
How
good.
big is cybersecurity? Because the more technology we have, the more hackers want to get in and try to get what we have, right? So you
Yes.
have to have people that are trying to prevent hackers from our cybersecurity world.
Wow.
We have our
Wow.
developers that are creating software and creating these games and creating these different applications. We have the gaming within itself. So there's so many different career paths. And there's one thing I like to share with the kids is there is not just one. There's many. So let's just share what those are, and they can kind of see it. Maybe this is for you, and maybe it's not. So at these programs, we have different IT professionals that come in to teach a workshop on how to build an app, how to build a gaming system, how to and cybersecurity. So there's so many different things that I just want to engage with them. And of course, we also have mentors, and we have different different organizations that come in to also support the kids afterwards. How to build a PC. So it's so many different things that we want to engage the kids in. The earlier, the better. I don't think it's at a point right now where we're saying it's too young to do so, because I don't believe that at all.
You can look at some of these TikToks and the little girl I have that and just go right on. I remember I saw a TikTok and the mama, she was videotaping and she took her phone and she found her little video from the phone, and she couldn't have been no more. And I would say maybe 14, 15 months old, but girl, she was working it. She was. Those of you that are tuning in, and thank you so much. As you can hear, I'm in a conversation with the visionary author. She is a best-selling author, 5-time best-selling author, and she is a visionary of the book that is called Ladies in Tech. Her first volume, volume 1, called Ladies in Tech: Sharing Expertise for a Successful Career. But tonight we're introducing you to Ladies in Tech and then changing the face of technology. So what we're wanting to do is just introduce this book to you, because in March, you are going to see it just be available to you, unfold for you. But I would love for you to join us in this journey. As we go throughout the months, we're going to be laying this out. You'll have an opportunity to meet the women. And do you have any? Yeah, you got men. You got women in this. This is ladies. Yes, ladies in tech. So you will have an opportunity to meet the contributing authors that will be a part of this amazing book, Changing the Face of Technology, Ladies in Tech, Volume 2, Changing the Face. What I want to share with the audience is that your facts here, as you're letting us know, is that although women make up almost half of the U.S. workforce, we represent 25% of people in tech and only 3% in leadership roles. There's so much more. And the question is, of course, are you a lady in tech? Do you have an interest in it? But what we're going to be looking at is from the perspective of changing the face of technology. And that, of course, is knowing that the female and the women's position in the world of technology. I am on tonight with the visionary author, Kenyatta Powers-Rucker, who is a chief information officer. She's a global speaker. She is a coach. And tonight we are talking about the upcoming Anthology Volume 2 project. Before we go into our next part of our conversation, our interview, we just want to share with you all one of our sponsors. And let's see who is sponsoring us on tonight. It is the amazing couple, Keith and Dr. Contandria Demps. They have a book that is called Cooking to Heal. Stay tuned, and we'll be sharing their information with you. And we'll be right back. And yes, today's podcast is sponsored by Cooking to Heal book by Keith L. and Katandria L. Demps. They are a Christian couple, a devotional journal on how food can bring love and healing. Just simply go to www.cookingtohealbook.com. Again, that is www.cookingtohealbook.com. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we are on with the visionary author. She's stopping by to just give us a glimpse of what you all can expect over the next few months. We're about to enter into 2024, y'all. And as she was talking earlier, her journey began whenever they were talking about the Y2K. Now, if y'all not old enough to know what that is, come on. Kenyatta, tell our audience, what is Y2K?
So
they don't know. I'm gonna say that listen, I know y'all are some intelligent people out there, but she gonna take us back.
So Y2K was an era of when we thought, I'm going to say the tech industry was thinking that they did not know how the computer systems was going to roll over from 1999 to the year of 2000. Right. So it wasn't quite sure if the computer world was just going to come to an end and everything was going to crash. There was a lot of buzz where they spent millions of dollars to actually get people to make sure that everything was going to be in compliance. To become 2000. So they had us in like 1998 to go around the state and update all of the computers to be ready for 2000. So it was one of those, and I guess Y2K came in of 2K of 2000, year 2000.
2000, right.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a big buzz back in 1998, 99.
It was. Y'all remember Prince came out with the song 1999. Was it 1999 or something? Okay. We're really talking about way back then, right? So I remember I used to work in the cash office of Winn-Dixie. And it was in that year, it was 1999. I worked there probably for about 2 years. And because of what I did, I made sure all the pricing and everything was proper in the store. That was my role. That was my job outside of cashiering. And yes, Winn-Dixie is right. Okay, so we're talking about the grocery store. I'm telling you, we stayed in there until probably 6 o'clock in the morning of year 2000. I spent my New Year's night in the store waiting for something to happen.
and guess what?
For us count money and making sure all the registers and everything was in place. Go ahead.
Nothing happened. Okay.
Nothing happened.
It rolled over from 1999 and nothing happened.
Nothing happened. New York City and the time, the clock and the ball dropped and everything. Everybody was A-okay.
Yes, everybody was just fine. There was no catastrophes.
Exactly. And here we sit 23 years later, you all.
Yes.
And what an amazing, I think, journey that we all have had. When we think about 23 years have been that's a long time. A lot can happen in 23 years. But we're very blessed and fortunate. And we just thank God for him bringing us to this space. At this time, as I was mentioning, and we talked about some of the facts that that you will be hearing, women that will be sharing their experiences. They'll be sharing some of the takeaways. And so that's what we're going to be talking about now. We'll have this discussion. What can we be expecting? I know the book is still formulating at this point, but give us a little glimpse into what we might be expecting come when the book is released.
Absolutely. So it's changing the face. I really wanted to focus on highlighting the women and their journeys in the tech field. And when you talk about changing the face, I'll never forget, in the first book, one of the authors We actually worked together. And she said, when she came in, she's fairly young, and she came in and she saw me as the CIO, and several of my other deputies are also female and also African American. And so when she saw us as in leadership, I also have males as well, but we also have probably more than the norm of women. And when she saw me and other women in leadership positions, she's fairly new to the tech world. So she's thinking that that was part of the norm. It never really even occurred to her about it being a male dominated field, because of what she was used to was women in tech and women being in leadership. And so that resonated with me, because I tell that story all the time, but that really resonated with me because of thinking, how can that was actually, especially from her standpoint, like changing the face of technology, of
Yeah.
more women in technology roles and more women in leadership roles. So in this book, one of the things I've asked the authors is for part of in their chapters is to share their journey. How did you get into tech? When did you get into tech? What made you get into tech? What is your career now? What were some of the roles that you may have had up until now? What is your career path moving forward? So I want the readers to kind of get that there's so many different, everybody has their own story. Everybody has their own journey. Everybody, I'm sure, did not take the exact same path. But I want the readers to see that there's different paths to take and there's different ways of doing it. People have their own reasons. People fell into it. Some people, their parents pushed them into it. Some people, it was just one of their desires since they were in elementary school. So there's different journeys and different paths and different reasons as to reasons why they're in the technology field. So in addition to sharing their journeys, we'll also be providing some additional tips and guidance in the areas of what they're specifically assigned to. So we'll have like reasons to stay into tech, how they're staying into tech, sharing how these maybe stories of the shoulders that we stood on to actually get to where we are, and how we're encouraging the next generation. So there's different levels of different things that the authors will also be including in their chapters, and these words of encouragement, so that other women can see that there are so many different paths. Everybody doesn't have the same path, and that their path is just as viable as anyone else's path. And I feel like the volume 1 and volume 2, that these volumes kind of mesh really well. In one, sharing the journeys of how ladies got into tech, and then the other is also sharing different ways of how they were able to exceed, how they were able to be successful, how they were able to do certain things within the tech field. So volume 1 and volume 2 really complement one another, so that they can actually be able to really help. Ladies that's either in, or ladies that's actually thinking about being in a career in tech. You're muted.
I'm saying that is awesome. I want to share my screen, you all, because as we're talking about volume 1, Kenyatta, she has a holiday. We are right on the cusp of the holiday. And what a perfect time for you, not only to get the book for yourself, or maybe to purchase the book for someone else. So we want you to go to KenyattaPowersRucker.com. I am going to put it in the chat, but I also want to share my screen. Do you mind if we do that?
No, absolutely.
I think it's beautifully done. And we're going to just share the screen here. And as you can see, her holiday deals, this is amazing, you all. For the one book, of course, you get, it's $20. 2 for the low price of only $30. How about going ahead and getting 3? It's a great gift. And get yours at KenyattaPowersRucker.com. Go to the website. I'll be putting it in both the Facebook chat and we'll also put it on our YouTube chat as well. And then we'll be uploading this conversation. It will be our first leading into 2024. I haven't uploaded you all on Spotify because we were waiting for this conversation. So you're going to be able, those of you that are tuning in on YouTube, on Spotify, go ahead and click onto that link and purchase your copy of Ladies in Tech Volume 1. So that's our little surprise for you all. Yes, you will be able to hear this. We're going to spread it out, and you'll be able to hear this on the Coffee Conversation with Sandy on our Spotify channel, as well as CTR Media Network. Will the streaming live will be uploaded in a couple of days. Let me go ahead and put this, excuse me, put this in here. Anything you want to share? Anything that we left out?
No, I think this has been absolutely amazing. Oh, well, we are having the book launch.
Okay.
The book launch is it's a Ladies in Tech book launch, as well as the Network Summit. And I want to make sure include in the process of a network summit because it's very important for networking. Also want to make sure that we have excessive amount of time for to be able to meet new people, meet the authors, meet with each other, and also presenting some networking activities so that we can better connect with one another. One of the main things that I hear so many times from so many different people are asking for networking opportunities. Do you know of any events that are happening? Do you know of any things that are going on that I could be invited to for networking? So that really tells me that there is this big space for networking for ladies in tech and for ladies in the tech industry. So that's something in my mind of getting more of. But the book launch, March 23rd, be in Towson, Maryland. March 23rd at the Family Life Center, and it will be a book launch where you'll meet all the authors, and it's an in-person launch, of course, where you'll meet all the authors. We'll have a Ladies in Tech Network panel where we'll be asking and answering questions. We'll be taking questions from the audience. So there's some burning questions that some of the audience may have. We'll be happy to answer. We'll also have, it would be, of course, some vendors and business opportunities. So we are excited about it. And we definitely look forward to be from 12 to 3 on March 23rd in Towson, Maryland. More information to come for sure.
That is amazing. Looking forward to that. So, as you can see, lots of great things are going to be surrounded with the release of the Ladies in Tech Volume 2. And as she mentioned, is that the book release and the book launch will be March 23rd with lots of activities leading up to March 23rd, starting off with my conversation and my interview with the visionary author herself. And we are super excited. I'm looking forward. You all look out for the release dates. We're going to be dropping that definitely before the end of the month because we want you to mark your calendar to meet some of the amazing authors that are a part of this project. Yes, Kenyatta, we want to say hi to one of our supporters, and they are actually one of our sponsors, and that is Swag Her Magazine. I see them in the audience. Swag Her Magazine. Yes, Lady Francesca and her team has an amazing team, Mr. Jamel and all of those. So thank you all for stopping through. We're always grateful for you being in our audience and just supporting. So Swag Her Magazine can be found in both digital print as well as the actual print copy. So you can find Swag Her Magazine by just simply, you can find them on Instagram. You can find them on Facebook, as well as YouTube, but just simply type it in, Swag Her Magazine, and I'm sure you will find it have beautiful photographs and articles, and I'm just excited to be connected with them. Absolutely. Well, those of you that are tuning in, we have had an amazing conversation kicking off the leading up to Ladies in Tech, Changing the Face of Technology. This is volume 2. We've been on with the lady in tech herself, Kenyatta Powers-Rucker. Yes, and just super excited about what's going to be happening in the months to come, and she'll be getting us ready for, as you all know, we celebrate women in history. And
Yes.
what a great subject. What a great time. So listen, she mentioned the city and the state, and tell us it one more time. We need to go ahead and book our tickets, y'all.
That's right. That's right. Booking tickets. More information to come. Towson, Maryland, March 23rd, 2024. And it's definitely a lot going on in the month of March for Women's History Month. So we are definitely excited about it.
Yes, and to be a part of that, of making history, because there are women that are making you're setting past and before, because y'all, sometimes if I don't say it, then I'll forget and won't get to say it. And I'm like, man, the young lady who you just talked about, for her to be part of the generation that is seeing women like you said, she's seeing that as a norm.
Yes, exactly.
And she is coming through, standing on your shoulders and those before you. So I thought that was, I heard it when you said it. I was like, in my mind, I was like, whoa, that's powerful. That is powerful. That is powerful for her to look up and just look around and like, oh, there's a room full of women.
Exactly.
And they are in leadership position.
Yes.
What an example that you all and your team and the women that she is surrounded by. I think that is great. So is she in the upcoming book?
No, she was in the first one.
She was in the first one. Got it.
Yep.
Okay. Well, listen, you and I, we could talk all night.
All day. We sure could.
We could. I'm so grateful. I really am. You all continue to support our platform. As you all know, that I've dabbled. I'm not dabbled, but I am a writer as well. But I have a new blog that is called Transformational Moments, and what that is positive transformation leads to positive results. So thank you all for continuing to read our blog on a daily basis, and we hope that it inspires you, encourages you, and motivate you to work toward your positive transformation looking into 2024. And this is an example of a positive transformation. The story and the testimony and the journey that my guest has talked about and has been very candid and open and shared her journey into now being Chief Information Officer. And you work for the state of Maryland. Is that
correct?
Yes, and working for the state of Maryland, what that God has trusted her with an entire state, you all, that's phenomenal. But she's been humble and showed herself, obviously, that God can trust her. And we acknowledge that. And I'm so grateful for our connection. And I just thank God for you. Any last words that you have for us tonight?
Just that I'm thankful to you in this opportunity, and just very grateful for having a platform to share how important it is for having women in tech and women in leadership positions. So definitely want to be able to support as much as we can of encouraging women in tech and leadership fields.
Awesome. Well, listen, we're going to step off and listen. You all take care. Have an amazing night and day tomorrow leading up to the holiday of Christmas. We'll be playing some replays and all of that. Listen, I may pop in on some lives here and there, but I just want you all to enjoy time with your family, enjoy time with your friends, and reflect. And then we are getting super ready for what God has in store for us for this coming year. I am Sandy Sanders. I'm the host and creator of the Coffee Conversation and Book Talks with Sandy, where our platform and our podcast, it is for authors, anthology book projects. And most of all, I say that it is for you. Why do I say that? Because you just might be looking for a good book to read. You guys take care. Have a blessed evening. Take care. Have a great night. I do have something to show you. We're gonna back off just for a second before we end our broadcast. So listen, stay tuned.